On April 26, 1986, at 1:23 a.m., a nuclear reactor exploded in Ukraine. What happened next was nearly the end of Europe, and 3 men volunteered to walk into certain death to stop it. As you consider the catastrophic consequences of that explosion, ask yourself, could a safety test gone wrong really threaten an entire continent? And on that fateful night, the reactor's power output had been reduced to 25% of its capacity, as part of a routine maintenance shutdown, supervised by Anatoly Dyatlov, the deputy chief engineer. In the months leading up to the disaster, the Chernobyl nuclear power plant had been operating at near full capacity, with Reactor 4 being the newest and most powerful of the 4 reactors, having started commercial operation on December 21, 1983. The Soviet Union's nuclear energy program was expanding rapidly, with 17 nuclear reactors under construction, and Chernobyl was seen as a model of Soviet engineering, with its RBMK reactor design being hailed as a major breakthrough. But as you look back, you have to wonder, were the risks and flaws in the design and operation of the reactor being adequately addressed? And in 1985, a safety inspection had identified 45 deficiencies in the plant's operation, including inadequate training of personnel and insufficient safety procedures. As the night of April 25, 1986, wore on, the safety test, designed to determine how long the turbines would keep spinning and generating electricity in the event of a loss of power to the main cooling pumps, began, and by 1 a.m., the reactor's power output had been reduced to 50% of its capacity, but as the test progressed, the reactor's power began to increase, and at 1:23 a.m., the reactor's power output had surged to 100 times its normal level, causing a steam explosion that destroyed the reactor building. And as you try to comprehend the scale of the disaster, ask yourself, what would have happened if the 3 men, Alexei Ananenko, Valery Bezbalov, and Boris Baranov, had not volunteered to drain the water from the flooded corridors beneath the reactor, preventing a second, potentially catastrophic, steam explosion? The explosion and subsequent fire released large quantities of radioactive material into the atmosphere, including 50 tons of radioactive iodine and 70 tons of radioactive cesium, and as the operators struggled to comprehend the scale of the disaster, the nearby city of Pripyat, with a population of 49,000 people, remained uninhabited, awaiting evacuation. And the Soviet authorities, led by Deputy Prime Minister Boris Chernobyl, were slow to respond, delaying the evacuation for 36 hours. During which time, many residents were exposed to high levels of radiation, and as the evacuation finally began, on April 27, 1986, at 2 p.m., you have to ask, what were the Soviet authorities thinking, and why did they delay the evacuation for so long? And on May 1, 1986, the Soviet government finally acknowledged the disaster, and the full extent of the radioactive contamination became clear, with radiation levels in some areas reaching 1,000 times the normal background level. The disaster at Chernobyl had a profound impact on the Soviet Union and the world, leading to a significant increase in concerns about nuclear safety, and on May 14, 1986, the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, was invited to send a team to assist in the cleanup and investigation of the disaster. And as you consider the long-term consequences of the disaster, ask yourself, what lessons can be learned from the tragedy, and how can they be applied to prevent similar disasters in the future? And in the years since the disaster, the exclusion zone around Chernobyl has become a unique and fascinating ecosystem, with many rare and endangered species thriving in the absence of human activity. And on April 26, 2016, the 30th anniversary of the disaster, a new confinement structure was inaugurated, designed to last for at least 100 years, and provide a safe and secure enclosure for the damaged reactor. As you reflect on the events of that fateful night, and the bravery of the men who risked everything to prevent a second explosion, you are left with one haunting question: what if they had not succeeded? And can you imagine a world where Europe was uninhabitable, and the consequences of human error and negligence had changed the course of history forever?